So what does that mean? Well, let's keep going in Proverbs. Look at chapter 3. God is watching our choices. Verse 9. So I guess we can just keep reading around. Let's see. Faith, you didn't raise your hand, did you? So you don't mind. Can you read Proverbs 3:9? And Heidi, you read Proverbs 3:10.
Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the firstfruits of all your produce.
So your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will burst with new wine.
Whoa. Did you catch? God was watching and responding to the choices they made with their possessions, their money. If we honor the Lord with our possessions. Now, when Bonnie and I got married, we were both working in Los Angeles in 1984. That was a long time ago. Bonnie was earning $60,000 a year in 1984. I was earning $18,000 a year. You can tell who the smart one is in the family and everything. And you know what we did? The very first thing we did is we said, of every penny we make, we're going to give to the Lord 11%, not 10. Why did we say 11? Because it would be very legalistic to give 10. You know, that's the tithing, the Old Testament law. So we, under grace, want to exceed anything that the Lord demanded from all of the people in the Old Testament, 10% of everything. He demanded it. And there was a lot more on top of that. They had to, actually the whole Levitical system is 30-some% of their income, because they had to give the seventh year to the Lord. They had to give the first fruits to the Lord. They had to only cut their fields in a circle and leave the corners for the poor people. And if you add all that up, it's like 30% of their income. So Bonnie and I gave 11%. And we started praying about it. We said, why don't we do this? Why don't we give next month 12%? And the next month 13%. And we'll keep increasing how much we give to the Lord every month until we go, oh, we can't pay that payment. We don't have quite enough money in the checking account. And it was the greatest joy for us to start out marriage. Did you know we didn't buy new furniture for our house? We went to the Goodwill. Do you know what the Goodwill is? It's where everybody gets rid of all the old stuff they don't want anymore, and it's kind of like the resale of old stuff. It was so exciting for us to have no debt. We never, other than when we bought a house, we had a mortgage, but the mortgage was for less than the house was worth, so even if we didn't pay it, we wouldn't be underwater, we wouldn't be in debt. Did you know the Lord watched those financial choices? And as soon as, by the way, as our first son was born, Bonnie retired. And so then we were living on $18,000, not $78,000. And we built our whole life around the fact the Lord was watching our financial choices. And so when it came time for our first house, we couldn't afford a house. We were too poor. So the elder of the church we were serving came to me and said, you guys need to have a house. I said, oh, we'd love a house, but we can't afford a house. He said, I have a house. I'll sell it to you. You don't have to go to the bank. Just pay me. How much can you pay? And I thought, what would make a man offer a house at a reduced rate? Right there. God watches our financial choices. And look what he said he would do in verse 10. Your barns will be filled with plenty. Now, I'm not saying what the charismatic, television preachers say. If you send me $100, God will give you 1,000. That's what they say. You send me $1, God will give you 10. No, what I'm saying is God said that. God said, this is God speaking. Verse 9, he said, if you honor me with your possessions and with the first fruits, you know what that means? Give God the beginning of your crop before you know how much is going to come in. Do you understand that? That's trusting him. Do you remember the three things? Oh, we don't have that slide anymore, but the three things that God wants us to do, he wants us to obey him and trust him. You remember that? That's what he's saying.